Hello and welcome to Gag of the Millennial.
A show where we talk about pop culture, current events.
And spill the hot Darjeeling right into the octave nerve.
Oh, scolded, goldy, woldy.
Oh.
Go to the doctor.
Oh, go to the doctor, please. We're not here, we're to get a doctor's appointment for 8 years.
Oh, true.
Hello.
They're all unemployed now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back, Luxeria.
Hello.
We've not done a gag for a while.
No. I was actually thinking on the way over here, though, that we've been going since 2019, around this sort of time.
Jesus.
So we have had a podcast for 5 years.
5 years? Oh.
Could have had a baby.
Yeah, we could have had
several
babies.
No, couldn't manage
Talk
that.
about babies. So one of my like old school friends posted like a thing on Facebook of her kid going to school, whatever, getting back to school. And he's 15. I was like, how do you have a 15?
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Sorry.
I was
no.
like, absolutely not.
Yeah, around our sort of age, that means she was like 20. Then.
Yeah, she had I think her first child she had, but she only had when she was like 18. She has 4 children now, but I don't keep up to date with her.
You don't care.
No, but essentially I don't care. No, let's just be honest. Just spill the tea. Says I don't care. I was just trying to be nice about it.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice. Hideous 15-year-old baby. Gaslighting.
So I think we should just, because so much has happened, we will talk about ourselves, but maybe we should get into the topics first and we'll talk about ourselves later.
Yeah.
Yeah? And we can start on we can end on happier things.
Yeah, okay.
Let's just be honest.
Okay, yeah.
It's probably got to be...
End on some serotonin. We need some of that.
It's probably got to be a
some
heavy
short
one.
supply.
Yeah.
Maybe the Olympics?
Yeah,
That's a pretty
why
big
not?
one.
Yeah,
sure, go for it. Yeah, go on, go.
Brain rot. So...
Okay, a positive thing about the Olympics, more than 20% of the contestants identified as LGBT.
Oh,
which
awful.
I was, you can't be a sucking dick. Did you watch any of it, first of all?
Honestly, I don't care? I don't really care that much about the Olympics, if I'm honest.
Oh, I do like a bit.
Oh, it's only because you want to see men in like leotards.
No. Well, yes, but also I quite liked the women's diving this year. It was really impressive. The Chinese team was just beyond. The level of precision. Like, I always wanted to get into diving, but when I grew up in Brighton, we didn't have like diving teams or anything. It was just like not available to me, so I did swimming instead. But diving was always like, yes, I'll always make an effort to like watch the diving and sometimes the gymnastics as well.
I will say I do watch things on like social media of like some of the clips of it. I would never sit and watch the Olympics, but I do like watching like the rings and all the gymnastics stuff.
Yeah, gymnastics is one of my favorites. I really like that. I think it takes so much like inner core strength. Like, it's as much as I love like a bodybuilder, it's really easy to be like, oh whoa, yeah. Like, that's really to actually like balance and do like a routine on something. I'm like, that is incredible.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And not just like the strength of the body, like the mental fortitude to be like, I get up at 4 a.m. and eat 7 kilos of fish so that my body can cope with the next 17 days of exercise.
I would die.
Talking about this, the scandal of that ray gun, the breakdancer from Australia. She has a PhD in like contemporary dance or something.
It was very that I'm your dance teacher. You know, the woman who was
what's her name? Yeah, that woman. Apparently there's like a huge scandal that goes back because apparently the dancer's like university team that she wrote like papers with were also judges in like the regional championships to get to the Olympics. So she's like finicketed her way all the way to like the Olympics, and then it's just like this one, that one.
It was because like,
spin. It's
like, I'm not going to pretend that I know the ins and outs of like break dancing. When I watched that clip of her doing this breakdancing performance, I was like, but I thought people like spin around on their arms and stuff. They got upside down and like spin on their heads. And
if anybody here in the audience is a breakdancer or a breakdancing aficionado, what was she doing? What was that?
I think of like Eddie Gordo from Tekken. I know. Yeah. I mean, I think he's more like capoeira. It was almost the same kind of.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Some of the movements are very similar when I think of breakdancing, where they sort of like go on. They sort of swing their legs around.
Martial arts is kind of a sort of dance.
Yeah.
Also, the dressage, horse abuse.
Horse abuse.
Yeah,
there was horse abuse.
Yeah. So you know what dressage is, don't you?
Isn't that when like
it's horse dancing? It's horse dancing at the Olympics. That one of them was disqualified because she was caught like whipping her horse. So it's a bit more salacious than that because she was caught and she was like, "This isn't representative of how I treat my animals."
Well, clearly it is.
It is, sis. You're doing that. But there was like 5 other people in this video, and they're all just like, "Yeah, this is fine." And it's like, so someone inside her team or a competitor like
didn't like it.
This. Yeah. It kind of says to me that it might be a rife thing that no one's talking about, but it's one of those like posh people level, like really posh people elitism sports that like no one really pays attention to.
But honestly, when I think about these animals like horses, I think it's different with dogs because you can see dogs getting trained. They look like they really enjoy it.
Dogs aren't prey animals, but like, I think is the difference.
Like horses, and you see like things like elephants and all those like camel rides, everything. And like all this time when they're trying to be obedient to humans, they're always getting like whipped on the legs and things. If they're willing to show that kind of stuff, I know it wasn't, they didn't want to get leaked, but they're showing in a place like the Olympics where of course there are going to be cameras and things everywhere. What are they like in their normal everyday life
exactly
back home?
yeah,
Is that how what actually horrific stuff do you do to animals?
I agree. Have you got anything about the Olympics?
Well,
apart from the big story.
The big story. I was like,
Imane Khelif. Yes.
I'm sure most of you know what we're talking about.
Yes.
So Imane Khelif is Algeria. So she is a female boxer. Of course, an athlete, female boxer. So, you know, you get punched in the face a few times. It might rearrange things. And
I don't think it's out of the ordinary to say if you're at the top of your leagues with genetics in terms of a sport that you can do, your body's going to resemble that level of strength.
Like
swimming, you're going to have really long arms and legs and perhaps webbed feet like...
webbed feet?
Like Michael Phelps. He's got slight webbing.
Really?
Yeah. But this is another thing of like, okay, a genetic advantage for him is fine, but for Imane to have one, no, she's got to be a bloke, isn't she? Look at that, yeah. She thinks she wears a wig.
Yeah, so essentially, what we were trying to say is, without being too harsh, is Imane Khelif isn't the most feminine-looking person.
Yeah, it's just not traditionally what you would consider like a Western, feminine, dainty woman.
No, she is what I picture when I think female athlete boxer.
Yeah,
like
100%.
She is 100%.
Yeah, she fits the archetype.
Yes.
Like, I don't think, oh my God, how frightening. I think that's a female boxer. That terrible Italian boxer who was immediately sobbing.
I don't know how...
It was like, you've gotten all the way to the Olympics and this is the moment
I don't get
like,
how did you get that far?
Why am I getting hit in the Olympics?
What were you expecting? You got to be like against like small children. Like
I reckon someone in her team had have said to her something like, oh, be suspicious. Everyone knows. Yeah, she's a man, that one.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she had the moment of like, I was just like, how child screaming wolf is this?
Yeah,
I was
weird.
like, I just got that instant vibe of like, oh, you haven't gotten where you are on merit. You've gotten there by like crying and screaming.
Yeah, I've never been hit so hard in my life.
It's like you are literally qualifying for the Olympics of drag.
I don't really understand why she thought she was going to the Olympics and fighting Olympians and it was just going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to win everything because clearly I'm the best and I'm never going to get hit in the face. Like,
well, if that's true, then maybe she only fought journeymen to get up there. So journeyman in the boxing world is like someone who's paid to lose.
Oh,
which is rife, actually. It's rife in the industry. Because you have to boost up your favourites, have to have like more wins to their names. So they'll put them in journeyman fights and be like, our champion is blah. And then you just see this like very not boxer looking man, should we say, perhaps like Keith works in the pub and then he's like, I'll do a bit of boxing for a bit of money, paid to lose, looks like the sort. And then they're like, oh, your champion has beaten Keith. And it's just like, okay, so now you've got an extra tick next to your name of a win, but it is just against Keith. So
I know everyone was saying that when Mike Tyson fights, is it Jake Paul or Logan Paul? He's fighting one of his...
Yeah, there'll be a journeyman.
Yeah, they're like, oh, if he loses, he's 100% been paid to lose because knowing Mike Tyson would lose against one of the Paul brothers. So I guess, yes, we should...
Right, back on track.
Yes, so...
The Olympics of drag.
The Olympics of drag. So, of course, when this distressed woman lost her match against Imane Khelif...
Did she even lose? I've not actually
Well, she kind of quit.
She instantly cried.
Yeah, and then she was like, no, I can't do this. Threw the towel in or whatever and forfeited the match. So I guess she never really had like a full fight. And so when she won the fight, of course, suddenly J.K. Rowling, Elon Musk, Logan Paul, Donald Trump, all of these people just suddenly decided to go on Twitter and spew hatred towards her and say that she's a man. They were bringing up all these ridiculous things of like, oh, she failed an XY chromosome test, which turns out it was all a load of shit.
Yeah, so it's actually from the IOC and Russian interference because there was no question about her gender or her sex up until she beat a Russian boxer. And then the IOC was like, no, you can't do that. Russia's one of our biggest like sponsors. They give us loads of money. So then there was the like scapegoat campaign of trying to be like, no, she's actually a man. She shouldn't even be competing. She's actually a man. And they put her forward for like genetic testing and it was inconclusive.
Yeah.
Because it was done under like duress. It wasn't done as like, let's just say, which you shouldn't have to anyway to compete. No. That's utterly ludicrous behavior.
The problem is they were basing it on looks. 100. There was no real actual proof or evidence. It was just like, oh, this person doesn't look like a woman that I would think is a woman. Because are they expecting that they were going to go boxing in ball gowns? Like,
well, exactly.
Ball gowns and full face of makeup.
Exactly this. Unfortunately, Imane has also said some like pretty transphobic things. So I'm not an Imane stan, but I am just like, it's so misogynistic to be like, you don't look like what I expect a woman to look like, therefore you aren't. And you don't deserve like respect or to live, essentially. Yeah. Calling for her like lynching.
But the stupid thing is like, first of all the people that were screaming and shouting about it had no interest in Olympic boxing.
No,
never had any interest in it.
No.
And second of all, butch women have always existed.
Yes.
Like, why is it now suddenly any butch woman is now suddenly a man? Suddenly all these like, butch lesbians from all the years ago who, but the thing is, it's all the lesbians as well. A lot of them are like the turfy ones who all are very butch looking themselves. Like, but you're going to get transvestigated yourself, right? You do realise that I
cannot believe that we're in a timeline that we have a word for it now.
It's so
transvestigated.
It's really stupid.
Do you remember when Andrew Tate was being transvestigated recently for his little pink pussy shorts?
Oh, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. But of course, J.K. Rowling was probably one of the biggest, I would say, the biggest.
Didn't she tweet like
trailblazers of these people?
23 times over 3 days, I think it was, about literally just straight up being like, that's a man.
That's a man. The main tweet was like, oh, isn't it funny, the smirk of a man knowing he's protected by the misogyny of like, it was like that photo of Imane like just like patting the other woman on the shoulder, being like just doing like a goodbye.
Being a good sports person, realistically. She didn't lose her cool, as far as I know. It all seems to have been handled through lawyers, which is exactly how it should. Because you imagine how bad it would be if she'd reacted.
Yeah,
everyone would have been like, right, sniped.
And the thing is as well, the fact that she's from a country where being trans is illegal and being LGBT, like the idea that anyone would think that they would send a trans athlete to defense for this, like
from a particularly right-wing, like religious country as well.
It's so stupid. Like, oh yeah, they're going to send a trans woman
athlete,
like
to win. Yeah.
My biggest thing as well, I was like, it's funny because actually, I mean, I know I'm generalizing. You've already said she's transphobic things. I was like, she's from a country where it's illegal. Chances are she's probably transphobic herself.
Yeah, because you know it's very difficult to break the cultural upbringing of your country or where you've been brought up if you haven't actively tried to break it.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that she said some kind of transphobic things, but it is a bit like, but to be honest, in that situation, what is she meant to do?
Yeah.
Like, of course she's going to have a problem if suddenly you're just being attacked left, right, and center online. Like, probably couldn't even really leave her house. I dread to think like mental health issues that this might have caused.
And even after it was like shown everything that she was like, you know, born a woman or whatever, even Donald Trump at like one of his most recent rallies was calling her a man.
Yes,
said, did you see the male athlete winning the boxing? And it was just like so weird. Like, but those people are untouchable. Like people like Trump are untouchable. Like we will get more to him later, but he is basically untouchable.
Yeah.
And J.K. Rowling, although she's being like sued now, we don't really know what's happening with it. We've just been told like headline style information. We don't actually know what's being...
The case is for cyberbullying, which I
think it's because cyberbullying is probably a better way to get a conviction rather than anything else.
The thing, it's just like, sometimes I do wonder if these lawyers, as much as like, yeah, they want the easy win or whatever, I am just like, yeah, but that's not going to change anything. The easy win is never... The easy option is never going to change the world.
Yes.
Like, difficult, long, drawn-out, hard, difficult things are the things that usually change the world.
Yeah.
Sure, we all know that J.K. Rowling is a cyberbully, but like now she's going to have a little badge next to her name. It's like, arrested for cyberbullying.
They were saying like Elon Musk and, you know, J.K. Rowling could face up to 5 years in prison. They're not going to. That's not happening. They have
Katie Price can avoid prison for all of the long list of nonsense that she's been up to. Do you really think J.K. Rowling's going to go to prison for 5 years for going, that's a man?
People like that are way too rich. What's interesting is we as we were planning this one yesterday, we had only just
died.
She only just came back to Twitter.
Yeah,
so she was gone for like 2 weeks, and the first thing she says when she comes back was calling her
a quote, wasn't it? Yeah. It was a quote of someone else. So I wonder if maybe her lawyers have been like, don't be going online and saying that. And she's gone, well, can I quote tweet people that are calling her a man, please? And they're like, all right, you can have one and say.
No, her first tweet was like actually her tweeting an article. It wasn't.
That's what I mean. So it's a quote from that article.
It's a quote. I see. Oh, okay.
It's not a quote tweet.
I thought
she was quoting in the tweet, if that makes sense. And it was just like a paragraph of like, man.
Which is so weird because like even after all this, it shows the level of brain rot. But not only level of brain rot, the level of like even, I don't know if she actually thinks that she's wrong or knows she's wrong. She'll never say that she is.
No, never.
She will never say she's wrong. Even
if too far down the rabbit hole now to climb out. She'll be this way forever until she dies.
Yeah, of course, because she's the ringleader. Imane was, you know, barraged on the internet with a disgusting amount of abuse purely on just lies and, fabricated information. And load of, big celebrities were tweeting about it. And yeah, it's really, really shocking that this level of attack would happen. Like, obviously it's horrible to happen to anyone, but it's really interesting that it's happening to a cis woman, because
I know,
it just goes to show that it hurts women
toxic.
Completely. Transphobia hurts every woman, not just trans women. Like, it's really stupid.
It also hurts men because it forces people into this really traditional gender role of nonsense, which clearly no one is happy with, because these traditional gender roles can't exist in our society as it exists now, because A, no one's got any money, so how's a man going to support 5 people or like a family? It's just I'm so over these conversations. I am just literally like, I actually don't really go on Twitter very much anymore at all, unless someone shares like a funny tweet and I'm like,
Talking about people, the difference of people's attitudes changing, talking about the things like the riots that just happened in the UK.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So in
the weird thing is, I know we were talking about like Imane at boxing, but this is all related.
It's all related.
The same brand of absolute
bigotry.
Chaos. Yeah.
So we recently had these horrific.
I must get my drink.
Okay, just drink it that way. I don't mind promoting things, just not that brand.
Oh, yeah, good point, yeah.
She's drinking J.K. Rowling's juice. It's Wizarding World energy drink.
Could you imagine that J.K. Rowling's juice is just mouldy fungus rot?
Oh, the mold on the wall.
Yeah.
The black mold on the wall, like rotting her brain. And then she changed her profile photo twice because the second one was like...
And then she actually just blurred it out because she was like, stop calling me Moldemort.
I love that she did that instead of... Okay, so talk about Imane thing like, prove your gender markers. Yeah. Prove that it wasn't mold on your wall.
Yeah, prove it.
Prove it wasn't mold. Go take a photo of your...
There was a fantastic creator on TikTok that was like, that did a whole like scene about the mold on her wall being like, no, tweet around trans people again. You can't write a book. You belong to me. Tweet about that trans woman again.
She licked it like the wallpaper in Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory.
Yes. The Chocolate Factory melted.
The mold tastes like mold.
I cannot believe, sorry, so much stuff has happened this year. I can't believe the Chocolate Factory scandal was this year.
Was it this year?
And it was in our last episode.
It was, we did talk about it.
It was in like February this year.
Oh my God.
And there was...
So, talk about the riots. So,
go.
really, really... Obviously, a sad story. There was a load of children doing a Taylor Swift dance recital like thing in Southport, Wales.
Yeah.
And how old
Basically
were they?
a nursery. They were young.
Young,
they were
like
children.
Oh yeah, look, literally like 5, 6, 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
And basically just a monster went in and unfortunately unalived 3 of them and injured other people as well.
So sad.
And when this happened, of course, it was suddenly like breaking news everywhere. And it's only not even that long ago. It's only like a month or so ago this happened. Suddenly...
There was one tweet from a woman who said it's an illegal immigrant.
Oh, is that what
She's
started
actually
it
been
off?
like investigated now.
Is she?
She's been like arrested and stuff for it. But yeah, that's where it started.
Of course, because there's a lot of tension at the moment in the UK when it comes to migrants and people coming here from like the small boat thing, like, which is spurred on by people like Suella Braverman on a couple of years ago and stuff. It's never really gone away. And so it was reported by a lot of the far right media and the far right sort of people like Tommy Robinson, like far right, extreme far right.
Who is an illegal immigrant, ironically.
Stupid, doesn't even live in this country. They all started tweeting out that the person who did the stabbing was a Muslim, an asylum seeker. Well, they don't say
an illegal immigrant.
I'm trying to use nicer words, but they basically call, every horrific word to call someone who's, moved to other country. And so, of course, because of the tension that's already going on with people coming over here on the boats and everything, the right wing just ran with it to the stage where suddenly a load of like horrifically racist, like Britain's first gammons.
Yeah, EDL.
Started like
UKIP reform people.
Yeah, like the really horrific far right people who want us dead went rioting. And it wasn't just like rioting, it was like, we're gonna try to murder these people. There was one time they set fire to like a hotel that was meant to be they thought it was hosting like immigrants when it was hosting like NHS nurses. And like you're getting to a stage where you're setting buildings on fire hoping that you burn to death people. Like, no matter where you stand on the element of immigration or anything like that, you think you're the good guys when you're setting fire to buildings because you think immigrants are inside.
They really thought like that this was just and fine and they would not get caught or something.
And
do you know what's really, really exhausting is people being like, no, they're not far right, they're not Nazis. No. Have you seen some of the photos of them with like, swastika tattoos on their heads?
That Englishman has a swastika tattoos all over his body.
SS 60, 88, whatever it is. It's just like, what? Like, of course
Well, there were many people doing Nazi salutes as well throughout the whole protests.
This is the most, do you know, sometimes I see things online and I do just think, I actually want to just die. Because there was, like, someone did an interview with one of them. He was like, yeah, well, yeah, protect our borders, don't we? Yeah, you can come over here, can't speak English and take our jobs. And he was like, so what job do you have? And he was like, I don't have a job. So what job are they taking from you? And he was like, well, doctors. He was like, are you training to be a doctor? No, I didn't get any GCSEs.
Well, it's like the other one from a little while ago. It's not from the same place, but the nonce who was like, the immigrants come and taking my job. And he was like, I can't get a job because I've got a conviction.
Because you're a pedo.
And he was a paedophile. Oh, the immigrants are taking your jobs because you're a paedophile.
Oh, it's just,
but that's like the caliber of these people who are going out and just like rioting. Yeah. And Tommy Robinson, if people don't know who Tommy Robinson is, he's an awful far right, like well, not even, what would you even call him? Like not commentator. Like even the content he makes, what would it be classed as? Like just like a political commentator.
Yeah, I guess so.
Even though he's terrible at what he does, like I guess like you would
far right activist.
Yeah, like, and so he is like he was one of the first people to come out in like support of all these writers being like, before you condemn them, they're justified in their anger. But
they're also the first people to say if you block a carriage or a roadway for Just Stop Oil, then they should all be put in prison and line up. Well, and, so attacked. And it's like, actually, you just burned down your city centres of the places that you live. And you're like, no, and kindness.
That's the interesting thing because finally, I mean, it went on for a couple of weeks. These riots were going on for.
Yeah, I'm sure they're probably still being organised now.
Probably, yeah.
It's funny when it happens in Brighton, everyone's like, get out! Yeah, so, get out!
Like most of the time when these kind of things happen, it's same as like Westboro Baptist Church and all these sort of like hate groups that go to do protests and let women speak and all of these people, is the longer they go for, people start to take note of where they're going and then they start counter-protesting. The most recent one we knew of is they actually came to Brighton about a couple of weeks ago.
I fancy coming to like the hippie alternative capital and being like, white
it was power. So funny because I was watching it. I wasn't going to go down and I'm not getting involved in all that shit. But I was watching it on Twitter as it happening, and 6 people showed up. 6 rioters showed up, and they were going to cause trouble.
Anti-protesters
just swarmed completely swarmed by counter-protesters, and they were like cowering behind police, like against this wall, like while everyone was just like, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. It was beautiful to see. But it just goes to show that actually these people are a minority. They're just very loud. They're just very, 100%. Very loud. Yeah, so the rioters, we've had really horrific riots, but what I've really loved about it is the fact that like, because of the way the world is now, people film 24/7. So even if you're not part of the riots, people are like filming you. Yeah. And so many people have been filmed looting shops. This is the thing. So
Lush. Why were you looting? Like, it's really important for our economy to do well. Let me loot Lush.
Let me
grow up.
And there was
doing?
Yeah, because there was
just 6 bath bombs for.
So stupid. I'll put photos on the screen. But there was this one man here who looted a Greggs, a Lush, and an Apple. I think it was an Apple store, a Microsoft store. He's been jailed now for a few years. And
is he the one that's 27 but looks like 80?
No, not him. He was wearing the England flag T-shirt. There's this man here. I'll put a photo here. But there's this guy who's been arrested for rioting, and they were like, he's 27, and he literally looks like a 50-year-old. Like,
he's like rotted.
It shows how like hatred really rots you.
It does. It causes you so much cortisol and stress, and that shows instantly on the face.
And the dumb thing about it is the fact that all these people were screaming about how it's migrants coming in. How was you looting Lush, Greggs, all these other stores, Shoe Zone, helping these 3 girls that got murdered? And please tell me how that's connected in any way, shape, or form. But that is exactly why you're writing. It just goes to show that the IQ that these people must have is like negative 1,000.
It's like so annoying because it's such misplaced anger. Like these people talk about immigrants. What they actually want changed is the world that they live in, but they can't see beyond their own racism that's the problem. The problem isn't with people who are leaving their countries for a better life here. It's the fact that our economy and government for the last 15 to 20 years has not been actively reinvesting into looking after you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working class white men have been left behind by this country. Realistically, it's kind of almost cringe to be seen as like a white working class man who hasn't done well in school or something. The political establishment kind of sees you as disposable. Yeah. And I understand that anger, but taking it out on people who have no power and no will to change because they don't have anything is not the way to do it. Like, it's very that meme of the banker being like having loads of cookies, and then there's an immigrant person and a white person, and he's looking at the white person going, that person's stolen your cookie. It's not even an exaggeration at this point. Like, your anger is so misplaced.
Their racism outweighs their logic. So because they're so racist towards anyone.
Before fixing things.
Yeah.
But also, that is such a British, sorry, I've been so interrupted, man.
Don't worry, it's fine, it's fine.
It's such a British
great point.
thing.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. It's such a British thing to be like, well, I had to suffer, so will you.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you could just vote better and make the world better for all of us. No.
That's the same people who go, back in my day, I just died. I just died. Oh, we beat our kids to death and they were happy.
And they were fine. Yeah. Look how they turned out. Yeah, Look how they turned out. You didn't turn out fine.
No.
And you haven't even had that in a conversation with yourself just yet, have you? No.
Just because you haven't realised the problem doesn't mean there isn't one.
Exactly.
But what's really interesting about all of these people is, unfortunately, we had another stabbing in London just outside the Lego store next to...
Did we?
Yeah,
when did this happen?
Like a week ago. Yes, unfortunately, we had another stabbing in London just outside the Lego store in Leicester Square. All these people who are going on about immigrants being like, disgusting, get them out. It was a non-white person who saved...
Oh, yeah.
The children, the child and the mother from a white person being the stabber. Yeah. And all of them are like, what?
I don't see that injustice. It doesn't affect me. No. That level of double standard I'm not shocked about. Also, did you see a couple of the right-wing media outlets went with his face, the Savers
the Daily
face.
Mail had put, was it Daily Mail or was it Sun?
They were like
one of them had
stabbing at Lego or something, and they had the Savers face as the headline. And, and people thought it was him who did the stabbing.
And it just goes to show the level of racism and xenophobia that runs deep in our media here, that like even the fact that this person
it's the Murdoch family
them.
It's the Murdoch family, and he's not even English. It's so infuriating that our like institutions have been infiltrated by nefarious people. Like I'm sure 100%, I probably would put money on it actually, there was some level of like Russian interference with planning of the riots.
We should really talk about the bang bang ear saga of Donald Trump.
Yes. What do we even call this without getting clocked for being naughty?
The potential unaliving of Donald.
The attempt. Do you remember the attempt?
Where were you when the attempt happened?
It felt like years ago that this happened. It's been less than a month, hasn't it?
It's
just been over a month.
Just over a month. I can't. So I'm sure. Everyone knows this happened. So Donald Trump was at a rally. I can't forget in my head now where exactly what it was, but he was at a rally. There was a supposed assassination attempt on his life.
The attempt.
But of course, with anything revolving around politics now, everything is conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Everything has got underlining things. No one knows what's going on. There was so many like, were the FBI involved? Was it happening? Was it not involved? Were these people like, because there was videos of like some of his like people before the shooting happened, scooting people away from like his podium, being like, oh, duck down.
Wasn't there was like a video of like the Secret Service that was around him actually knowing that person was on the roof.
Yeah, not doing anything.
It's like,
unless you have no idea what happened. Yeah, Donald Trump had an assassination attempt, an alleged assassination attempt by someone.
And because he flicked his head at the right time,
it like knocked his ear.
Grazed his ear gently.
Yeah, and like cut his ear open or something, and he didn't die.
Is, did it even? Because all of the pictures have been like with him with like a square, like a napkin on
everything afterwards, like a couple days afterwards, he was pictured.
Oh, can't wear a mask, but happily wear a bit of plastic on my ear.
All of his followers like putting these fucking pieces of paper on their ear, pretending to have like broken ears or whatever. But the stupid thing is like, it wasn't even that long after that you saw photos of him and his ear was fine.
That's what I mean. That's where I'm like, okay.
What's happening?
If that was like a serious thing. See, this is where there's so much like questions around this. Let's just say we believe for 100% fact that everything around this situation did happen. Yeah. And he did have an assassination attempt. How absolutely insane that in our lifetime there was an assassination attempt on not the president, but like a former president of the United States.
It's bonkers.
That's like really, for the history books. And then the amount of people that were like, he's just won the election.
I don't think.
Who was the really famous one? I was going to say J.K. Rowling. What are they called?
John F. Kennedy was he was one that was actually like properly assassinated.
Yeah, like that was moment of this is like a hugely changing,
and there was always conspiracy theories around him about how it was done, because we talked about the that false flag thing that he turned down, and that was when he died after he said no because they wanted to justify an invasion of Cuba.
I think it was. Yeah, it was all during the Cold War. Wasn't it?
But he was like, no, we're not attacking our own people to do that. But then he died afterwards. So there's lots of conspiracy theories around that. Actually, to be alive when like this kind of thing happens is quite bonkers. But honestly, with the way politics politics is now and how everyone gets so riled up and everything. Like it's so we're so polar opposites now of different people. It doesn't surprise me. It's shocking, but even though it's shocking, it still doesn't surprise me that people get this angry now. But the weird thing is like the person who did it was a supporter of the same side.
But there was also like, I don't know if I've made this up or I've read this somewhere or this is purely conjecture, but there was something about the fact that Trump is in Epstein's logs and this person, the assassinator, if you like, was like anti-pedo. And this is the reason why he was, I love the Republicans but hate Trump. So assassination attempt. I don't know if that's actually real or not. I don't know where I've read
I
that.
don't think we're ever going to know what the truth is around the situation.
Yeah, so do not quote me on that. That's just something I've heard. But
the thing is with this whole...
Because why would your own supporter try and do that to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is a big...
It's like that. Those people that are like deeply Catholic and then push priests off the stage.
Yeah.
Like, I love you!
It's the same. I mean, technically, it's the same as the person who murdered John Lennon. Was a huge super fan, got an autograph, and then shot him on his doorstep. Like Christina Grimmie is another person went to their meet and greet and killed her. Like some people get like
Jill Dando.
Jill Dando. Another one people like love. People obsessed, and they get killed. Whether I believe this was real or not, I don't know. What I find interesting is like so many people on Trump's side being like, well, someone died.
Well, yeah, a man did die, didn't he?
Yeah.
Behind them.
And can I just say one thing? Again, this isn't me justifying a conspiracy theory or whatever, because I actually don't know what happened. But first of all, Donald Trump's side would 100% sacrifice one of you to push his agenda.
Lord Farquaad.
The idea that you would think that any of his side...
Some of you may die,
yeah, exactly.
but I am willing to take that risk.
Like,
that's
if any of...
January 6th, people died.
Absolutely.
Like, that's exactly what...
Like, the fact that you think that Donald Trump would, like, he loves his supporters. No, he will 100% let one of you die if it aided his, like, campaign. Because when he came back and did the whole, like, fist in the air, fight kind of thing.
People were getting that tattooed.
Oh, I've seen that with multiple of my videos already. Like, the fact that he did that made it almost feel a little bit showy, that it didn't feel real. Yeah, I don't know whether I think it's true or what happened or not, but Donald Trump would 100% sacrifice one of those people. But also, there is enough people on his side, regardless of whether they got violent or not, who are the obsessed people. Some of the people that love Trump so much would 100% sacrifice themselves for him as well. Yeah. So even if that would happen. So when we stop using the argument if someone died. Yeah.
It's zealotism.
Just because someone died doesn't mean that science not... Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, but they don't see him as a politician. They see him as like a celebrity.
God, it's like
a messiah celebrity. This isn't about politics. It's more about like a cult messiah complex.
There's a real like joining between like the religious aspect and Trump, because they're really... I remember a while back it was very much like, Christianity's back because Trump's praying in the White, and it's like... What are you talking about?
Trump isn't a Christian. Ask him what's favorite part of the Bible is like, all of it. Yeah, there's bits.
Which version have you read?
Yeah. Just all of... No, Trump
held it upside down for a photo shoot
stupid.
Well. It's
like, Trump is not a Christian. Trump is a grifter. Like,
if you are easily led, then that's your fault, sis. Yeah.
Seeing all the Jeffrey Epstein files and everything, that he has been listed on there. Like, there's so many photos of them together, and like so many claims of him being a predator.
Even like Melania was apparently like trafficked to him by Ghislaine. It's just like...
There's so much shit that he's done. He's like a convicted felon. The fact that all these people still follow him, it just shows that like they would 100% die for him.
Yeah, but it's very like, he even said this in his first campaign run, didn't he? He was like, I could shoot someone on Saks Fifth Avenue or whatever, and it was like, oh yeah, and people would still vote for you. Yeah. Isn't it strange how literally a few days after this happened, Joe Biden got COVID and then had to like step down? How fascinating would it have been that there's a timeline out there somewhere that Trump was assassinated, Joe Biden like passed away from COVID several days later? Imagine that.
Could you imagine?
There's a timeline out there somewhere in the multiverse, if you believe in that sort of thing. Dirty cow. Could you imagine where that happened? And America would just be in utter turmoil.
But I do think it was the right choice to let Kamala take over than Joe Biden.
100%.
Like,
part of my brain goes like conspiracy theory. I'm like, is this what they planned to like goad him into like spending all of Trump's money and then being like, no.
I mean, it's possible.
He went online and was like, no, we have to get Biden back now. It's like, you were just
saying you wanted him to leave. You were saying he was not capable. But I do think it was the right choice. Like, I didn't like Joe Biden, but out of the two, I'd rather have Joe Biden. But let's be honest, like, he was going a bit doolally. Like, we can't, like, no one can deny that he was going a bit doolally.
You can't have 80-year-olds running the future.
No.
I'm sorry, you can't. You can have them in positions of wise power where you can consult them about things that have happened previously. But how is an 80-year-old whose mind...
But he's over 80, isn't he?
Well, he was 83, but Trump is like 79, I think.
Trump's close to 80.
I have the same birthday. Isn't that disgusting? Foul.
Luxeria Trump.
Oh, no. Well, we are both German.
Yeah. Oh, no. Guten Tag.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Yes, a snuff film. Now that Kamala has taken over with the
Kamala takes over.
Kamala, have you ever fell off a coconut tree? What's interesting is now people can focus on how like Donald Trump's sort of like
old and
mental state is like in question, because before Joe Biden was even worse. That people weren't really. I mean, people were saying it, but never to the stage of like Joe Biden's of like he's completely disassociating or whatever. But now that Trump's the one who is the old one, who's like he's now looks crazy.
Anything you said about Joe Biden being old now immediately goes over to Trump. The fact that Trump was complaining that, oh, well, we've spent all this money on Biden. And it's like, you should be presenting your arguments as like, this is what we can do for our country, not trying to tear down your opponent, because you've just wasted millions and millions and millions of dollars.
I follow a lot of commentator channels, and a lot of them have been watching through like all of Trump's speeches since, and he's still talking about Biden. He won't stop talking about like, and we had Sleepy Joe, and I was like, you can talk.
It's gone.
Talk about the
past now, yeah.
But what's
they
also
don't get it though, do they? Because that's still like the issue.
Yeah, and what's interesting also is the fact that like with everything that's been going on, the weird comment of like all the right wingers being like, they keep calling us weird. We're not weird. JD Vance isn't weird. We're not all weird.
Oh, JD Vance is the weirdest thing that's ever been born.
They're so upset that everyone keeps calling them weird. Yet every single talk that Trump does, all he does is just full of like insults of everyone else. It's like, you can't call Kamala all these names and call Joe Biden all these names and then go, don't call us weird. It's mean and horrible.
It's because they truly think that they're normal. So being called out on for just how like weird they are.
So did you see that?
Really upsets
them. Did you see the most recent thing of JD Vance going in that donut shop?
I've seen it, but I haven't listened to the audio. Apparently he was like, I'll have JD Vance Black. And she was like, okay.
It's so weird. So JD Vance, he's going to be like also, Trump's like vice president if he wins.
JD Vance for season 12.
Stupid, like ex-drag queen cross-dresser, and then being like, so stupid. So there's this video that just went out, and he's like gone into this like donut shop. I'm not sure what donut shop is, to go buy donuts, and he has absolutely no idea what he's asking for. Like, and he's like, it just goes to show, like, it's these things that they do to try to make them feel like they're like the common people. They're just like you. And he walks in and he's just like, oh, just put some things in a box. Oh, lots of glazed things here and some sprinkles. And it was just like, you have no idea what you're doing. And he's like asking the people behind the counter, like, how long have you worked here? And like, they're just like, oh, like 1 year, 2 years. And he's like, oh, good. And it's like, that's what you're going to say. Like, you're just going to be...
They're not human,
like,
are they? They're
was
puppets.
So
they're
cringe.
Empty vessels of hate.
It was so cringe. But JD Vance in himself is like insane, like weirdo. But the thing is, they've gone so hard now as well on abortion that it's actually making them look bad. Like,
making them look insane.
Yeah. And
I mean, they've always looked insane, but just now they have someone normal to be compared to. It's like,
Because I didn't know who Tim Walz was before Tim Walz became Kamala's potential vice president.
Yeah.
But seeing him speak and how he's like talks to people,
and he's old as well.
Yeah. But I mean, not compared to them though. He must only be like 60. Watching him do 58 speeches compared to everyone else, I'm like, oh, this is what they needed.
Yeah,
because he's a lot more. He's very charismatic. People seem to like him. He talks about like
he's got experience as well with like alternative needs for healthcare because he has like disabled children. That's actually the insults of the son.
So his son is like crying because he's happy that his dad's doing it.
His son is non-verbal learning difficulties.
Really?
As well.
That is so.
He was so proud of
that person tweeted. There was this one person that tweeted like RETARDS shouldn't be heard, and it was literally like a right winger just being like, you should shut him up, but he shouldn't be heard. Like that's.
This is the party of children. Let's just say that. Protect the children, but not if they're like that.
I thought they were just saying that because they were just being right wingers. I don't realize they were saying it because he actually is.
He's disabled.
I didn't know.
And he was having like a brilliant moment of just like pure emotion that your dad is standing for like
in front of like 20,000 people as well.
But also going for like vice presidents of the United States. Like that's an overwhelming moment anyway. Yeah. And the fact that all of his family were there and crying and really happy and lovely. Cut to Melania ignoring Trump. And she's no longer appearing at his rallies. Like, real party of like nuclear family,
And it was really sad. Like, with this kid as well, that's really shocking. That's really shocking.
I'm really sensitive to ableism, but there needs to be a more extreme word for it because obviously I grew up in a disabled household. My mom was quite heavily disabled. That really affected my life growing up and learning how like things take a lot longer. The process to get like help with healthcare or traveling or even like wanting to do very ordinary things sometimes like going out for the day is a lot more difficult when you are in a situation like that. And the idea that they're just this whole thing just snowballed so far out of control with people being so hateful towards someone just expressing joy for their family was so.
It just shows they're devoid of love. They're just so devoid of love.
So filled with hate that your soul is rotting. Yeah, you will not get into heaven if you believe in it because Jesus Christ will see you and go no.
Regardless, I do hope Kamala wins the election.
Same. I do have a bit of a concern that somehow, a bit like what happened here, is that like sometimes people's racism runs deeper than wanting to do better. Yeah. So that does, and it also is kind of strange that like not only is she black and Indian, she's also a woman. Yeah. Like this is going to be a first, super first.
Did you see that thing about Trump being like, oh, I didn't know she was black. Yeah. Suddenly she wasn't black until she was running for president. Now all of a sudden she's black. But unsavable. But
do you know what's really shocking is that people were like, I agree. She wasn't before us. Oh, just where did you put like allergic to brain cells? They are allergic to brain cells. They're allergic to them.
It's so weird, like as British people looking on, because we always talk about how like America's almost like the UK's naughty child, who they sort of do things worse than what we do. Yeah. And like it's weird looking at that because I know we have problems here, but sometimes when I see American politics like this, I'm just like, you guys are in like properly just bonkers over there, like fully just bonkers.
What I do find interesting on that sort of note again is that when Americans come over and they like talk to us about their politics and we're like, yeah, you're all insane. And they're like, no, we're very normal. It's like, no, you are insane.
Stupid. I'm fully aware what I'm about to say is awful. I know what I'm about to say is awful.
But there was Madeline's fault.
No, there was a funny meme that went around when Donald Trump's assassination thing happened. And it was like a meme being like, because it was everyone's like ducking away and stuff. And someone commented like as a meme being, what's your problem? I thought you all loved guns.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, there's that.
Why are you scared? You all love guns.
Yeah, don't you love it? Yeah, there was that thing that he did. He's gone back to doing like public appearances, and he gave a talk at a gun rally, but behind bulletproof glass. It's like you couldn't even write this into a pantomime, could you? It's so bizarre. What absolute Twilight Zone episode is this?
So glad we don't have guns here. A lot of Americans would say we got stabbings. Yeah, but imagine so
much more damage. Imagine if you went into it there with an AK-47, everyone in that building would be dead.
All those kids would have died in that recital of the Taylor Swift thing. Like, how awful is that? Like, so just because I'm so glad we don't have like guns here. Maybe we should move on to another topic.
Yeah, God, have we got any more?
Oh, yeah.
Elon Musk. Well, I did actually want to talk about the trans icon Vivian, who I never even really knew. I knew she was trans, but I didn't really know who she was.
Who are we talking about?
Daughter.
Oh, yes. Okay, we can talk about that.
So this was something that when it happened, I was like, oh, because I knew that I'd heard like murmurings from the subreddits. I'm very active in like trans communities, but under aliases, you won't know who I am.
Oh.
So I like to know what people are saying. I like to know how people are feeling around the world with trans things.
And then she stokes the flames.
She's like, oh yeah, J.K. Rowling was right. Voldemort. Yeah, no. So I like to like listen and peep behind the curtain occasionally.
Ooh.
And I knew that his daughter was trans, but I didn't know who she was. I didn't really like follow anything about her until very recently. He gave an interview in which he dead named her and then said like
multiple times,
yeah. But he said something along. I'm going to paraphrase here. Something along the lines of, "Oh, the woke mind virus killed my son."
Yeah.
And he was talking about his trans daughter.
Bear in mind, I want to say that interview with Jordan Peterson, it wasn't even like someone who was like
some rabid incel.
Yeah, it wasn't even like an actual like news report, like an actual good. It was like a conspiracy theory nutcase.
Yeah. So Vivian then came out very publicly and was like, "This is not how my life has gone." Apparently, Elon Musk has like 11 children by multiple different.
Yeah,
women.
I didn't realize how many times happened. How many children
outside of their lives, like he just doesn't care for them. It's so strange because he promotes family values, being nuclear family, and it's like you don't practice what you preach at all.
Like, what I find interesting about the whole interview and then Vivian's response was the fact that Elon was like, oh, when I'm going to say she, but he didn't say she. No. When she was younger, she'd once sponsor in being like, oh, that jacket looks fabulous on you, Dad. And it was like, what 3-year-old walks around going, and that looks fabulous on you?
Like, so Vivian is a twin, and apparently her twin really liked musicals, and Elon was like, oh yeah, she loved musicals when she was a baby. We all just thought she was gay. And it was like, you're thinking about my twin, not me. Like, that shows how devoid outside of their lives he was. She was like, as if I would ever be like, that jacket's fabulous on you.
Stupid
3-year-old. Grow up.
I can't remember who it was now, but I was watching someone's
video on it.
Funny
how gay people are perfectly fine now, but that trans people are here, isn't
it?
They're like, oh, I wish you were just gay.
But it was interesting because the things that Elon was saying in this interview, it was almost like textbook definition of what being a gay person would be.
Yeah.
And it was like he was listing all the individual gay things to make it seem like Vivian was just a gay boy or whatever. And it was just like, oh,
the irony of
talk about fabulous, loving musicals, being swishy and it's dumb.
It's actually, if you've ever spent any second indulging in gay culture, you'll know a lot of them are mask for mask.
Yeah.
In fact, most of them are.
Well, what's interesting as well is the fact that when Vivian came out and said all this stuff about, like, basically rebuked everything that he had said about her.
I love that word.
Rebuked.
I rebuked you. Very that.
It was the fact that she said that anytime she'd be around him as a child, she would get berated for being flamboyant and queer. Yeah. So the idea that you would say, oh, I preferred him like as a gay boy or whatever, clearly you didn't either.
Yeah, you didn't. That's the irony, isn't it? Because like they're trying to make out as if like, well, I'm still loving and I win lefty points because I wanted my son to be gay, not a woman. No, you didn't.
Well, clearly
it would still be a huge issue. You wouldn't suddenly be like, my best gay son. Like, never.
I love the rebuking, and she came out and really sort of like
I liked that.
Delved the
Twitter
nail into his face.
About like how wrong he was. I didn't even know her name before this. I knew that he had a trans daughter, but did not know.
I'm glad
and she's really like, I don't care about his money. Like, don't want anything.
Well,
to
the
do
fact
with
that
it.
she even like dropped the last name, so like on paper she's not really actually related to him anymore.
Good.
As much as I find Grimes a bit cringe, I'm glad that she stood up. She actually stood up for her. Did you look into that? I don't know if you watched any of. No. Did you watch anything of the interview that he did to Donald Trump on Twitch on Twitter?
Yeah.
And Donald Trump was just slagging off like electric cars. And it was like, oh, some okay. Yeah, some are. I hate. I was like, it's clearly they're both using each other for exposure. It's so obvious.
Don't know. Odd.
Poison water. What the f was
God, what's this?
We had poison water in the UK to boil the kettles.
Sorry, what's this? When did this happen?
What do you mean what? We had a whole discussion about this. We couldn't drink water here. We had to boil the health.
Not here.
Yes, it was.
Not here, as in like Brighton.
No, but I'm saying in the UK.
Oh yes,
what are you talking about?
No, it's because we were looking at changing the laws for Thames water to be actually like punished but for criminal courts for making water inaccessible.
I thought you were gaslighting me then.
No,
I was like,
it's because I was like, hang on.
That never happens.
I was like, no, not here. We didn't have poisoned water, but no, Britain did. Yeah, you're right.
There was like
can't remember where it was. Was it Cornwall?
There was some place in Southwest where I was from where they were like giving out health warnings, being like,
don't drink the water.
Don't drink your tap water. You have to boil it before drinking it because so much was like contaminated or something, and it would give you like really horrific like diarrhea and stomach sickness and stuff. And that's
I could do that all by myself.
When your own country is starting to be like, maybe don't drink the tap water. That's scary. Like
the
that's
thing is,
scary.
we are so fast traveling down this like. We are no longer a powerhouse of the modern world.
Yeah.
When people say like, oh, the forefront, Britain, I'm like, no,
not anymore.
No. I'm forever shocked when I go to other countries and I'm like, everything works and it's clean and nothing costs £1 million a second just to exist. I'm like, this country's dead. It died 20 years ago and was trying to like keep its corpse on in the ICU.
Well, I think honestly, when like the Iraq War stuff happened back in 2003, when that happened, that was the start of like people starting to look at the UK as a problem. Like, I'm sure it maybe did happen before, but that was in my mind of when I remember hearing people talk about the UK when we got a bit older in social media. I was like, oh, it doesn't seem as like la-ti-da as like the media would like you to see on TV shows that we would see, because until social media came out, we just kind of believed anything we saw on like a news channel.
Because you didn't have anything else to compare it against. And you could only be exposed to those around you who also believed that. Yeah.
So I remember when social media coming up, I remember seeing things in like sort of like mid to late 2000s being like, oh, I think maybe some of the impressions we're seeing on our news channels aren't correct. So even back then, almost 20 years ago, we're not. Yeah. Poisoned water. Poisoned water.
Hate it so much. I mean, it's so I get very socialist when we start to talk about like energy supplies and like basic human needs to exist.
Yeah.
I'm like, your water, your maybe waste can be water, electricity, things that old people need to like just base level breathe.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, those should be run as non-profits. Not run for like free, but run as in non-profits. So none of this shareholders can just extract wealth overseas for hundreds of years and everyone else has to suffer the bill for it. None of that. Run it as an NGO or a non, what do you call it, like a community company or something where it's everyone who puts money into it makes money out of it and it's all run and every penny is spent on the service and the infrastructure. One of the reasons why we're seeing so much failure in this country is because there's not been any reinvestment back into infrastructure. infrastructure. The reason why
It's
the
just
railways are all broken.
Banks, mine.
We're actually getting, where I live, which is just outside of Brighton, we're having power cuts. I'm like, the national grid of the UK, power cuts.
Yeah.
Right, okay, right. Everyone get your tea light out because there's no dinner tonight, Jimmy boy.
And what's really sad about what's going on is the fact that, like, it doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Oh, it's not.
And I don't know where it's going to stop. But I mean, I will say, like, we saw that speech that, well, with not manifesto, but it was like the most recent things that Labour had sort of tried to implement so far. Like, he did sort of make it seem like the railways would be re-nationalised.
I don't have any faith in the Labour government. I'm just going to say, I'm glad the Tories are out, but it doesn't feel like enough of a change is going to happen, sadly. Simply, one of the first things they manifested was taking the heating allowance away from pensioners. I'm like, my dad's a pensioner, and all I've heard about is they've taken away my heating allowance. And I am just like, that's true, actually, because it's getting colder, it's getting wetter. Like, how are you going to have your home kept? Like, he's a pensioner, and he's got a little bit of savings, and he's doing all right. He's not destitute, but it is one of those cases where it's like, no, this is a huge problem. Why haven't 7 MPs, like, just taken a pay cut instead?
Oh, they couldn't possibly do that.
No.
When I talk about this too much, it makes me actually really sad, the fact that a few people in the UK that could literally spend, 1% of their money and change the country in so many positive ways, but they choose not to because they're greedy.
Some of the case, I think it's actually all the problems we see with the way that this country is run are features, not bugs. It does actually work for the people who have implemented this. It does work because it makes them money.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not that it's like it's problems to us because we see it as like destitute of, like, devoiding human life or human experience. But to them, it's like fully expendable. Like a human life, yeah, but I get an extra bank balance bonus. So
oops,
die, bitch.
But this is exactly my point about the whole person dying on the Donald Trump's rally. Like, these people are so unbelievably wealthy and make so much money, they do not care if you die.
Yeah.
So, like, the government do not care if you die.
100%. So, talking about the government not caring if you die, that billionaire in his yacht.
Why?
Of Sicily.
It's so weird that we are being force-fed information about this. It's like as if feel sorry for this billionaire.
Mike Lynch, the poor billionaire who was like, deported from America for all these lawsuits. I'm like, sure, I bet it was a horrible situation. I'm sorry he's dead. I'm sorry his daughter also, her body was found as she was young. I don't care about billionaires dying.
No.
Sure, multimillionaires, I think, is a success in life. Yes, if you've made enough for you and your family and maybe your grandkids to live comfortably, that's a brilliant thing. Well done for working that hard. Billionaires do not get money from working hard. They get money from exploitation.
You can't
exploiting poorer people than them.
Yeah.
So I do not feel an ounce of like, I should really feel bad for this man. I'm like, I'm glad our yearly tradition of sacrificing billionaires to the ocean is coming back. Wasn't the idea that, like, it was a sudden storm off Sicily we didn't know? There was like a fleet of super yachts there.
I find the whole thing mind-melting.
Yeah.
Like,
there is a level, the fact that the mainstream media are trying to make us feel sorry for this billionaire. I'm like, what are you trying to prepare us for here? We've brought this up before, but it's the Madeleine McCann effect. Where as soon as something is going wrong in the world or some really big scandal is about to break, British media will go, is this Madeleine McCann?
Madeleine McCann's been found.
She's been found. Is she this woman from Poland? And it's like, suddenly every attention is drawn back to Madeleine McCann. And it's like, she went missing 16 years ago?
2007.
She's not coming back.
No.
The parents have made millions and millions of pounds selling their books, blah, blah, blah. It's like, very sad situation happened, and I'm sure there's a lot more that we will never understand. But it is so irrelevant to the world and the way that we are running now, to like regular people's problems of thinking about a missing child from 2007.
Yeah, but the government, they do it all the time. Every time any scandal comes out, suddenly Madeleine McCann will do it. And this feels, the boat yacht man feels the same.
Exactly
because it feels so intensely pushed towards us. I don't care about this. There's elections going on. There's things going on. People are dying.
Why do I have to care about a British billionaire who's died off the coast of Sicily in his super yacht? Like, I don't care that his super yacht went. Do you know what I feel sorry for? I feel sorry for the people that had to work on that ship at the whimsy of a billionaire being like, to Sicily, darling, in the storm. I feel sorry for every single person who had to work on that yacht and experience that catastrophe because they just had to earn money to live. And he was like, Sicily, darlings. I don't care. I don't care.
No, I don't care.
I don't care. No. My empathy stops.
I didn't care about, again, the submarine people a year ago.
I don't care then.
Don't care. I was like, well, why were you that stupid? You were dumb. Like, the whole situation was just absolutely stupid. Laurence Fox getting sued by Crystal, but actually winning. Like she actually won against Laurence Fox.
Ironically, there's even a second one now. Yes.
Going back to the Olympics and the whole like outrage all the right wingers had because of like the supposed Last Supper Table parody, which
was actually a Dionysus.
Was
painting.
about was all about Greek fucking like Olympic Greek gods or whatever. But none of them thought about that. They thought the Last Supper Table. But like,
but also, so what?
It's also so what? So many things have been parodied about Last Supper Table. None of these people cared. But obviously, Laurence Fox,
the Last Supper. Who goes to a restaurant, orders a table for 26 people, and everyone only sits on one side? Grow up.
All the right-wingers took that, went mental again. And Laurence Fox, if you don't know who Laurence Fox is, we've talked about him a few times, but again, he's another one of these like far-right extremist right-wing commentators who's
also rotting. He looks so old
he's so
and
disgusting.
Now,
Just rancid human being, racist, transphobic, homophobic, like every anti-thing he is.
Every ism,
every ismophobia he is. He came out and just
boiled
literally just called Nikki Doll, who is a person who was on Drag Race. Nikki Doll was a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race, who now hosts Drag Race France.
Yeah.
People said that in France, Nikki Doll is seen in France the same way RuPaul is seen in America.
Oh, really?
Like that level of like sort of fame in France.
Gosh.
Laurence Fox went on Twitter and just basically called Nikki Doll and the other people there who were performing
again
paedophile, just fully just paedophile.
And it's like you
no
just
skirting
lost
around
this.
it. Yeah, no skirting around it. Literally was like, You just lost the lawsuit because Crystal sued you because you called Crystal a groomer and a paedophile.
She called herself Crystal Will Sue You now.
Crystal Will Sue, yeah.
It's like, it's brilliant.
It's so dumb. Like Laurence Fox is fully rotting. But again, talking about this whole, Last Supper Table thing that happened, just because there was LGBT people on show. It wasn't, there were nothing
They weren't
there.
doing anything.
No, it was literally just a few drag queens and like performers. Right wingers. It just shows though that after the trans people, they're going to come after everyone else as well. Like I feel like it's almost like they're using trans people because everyone seems to want to go at them as like the front, but behind closed doors, it's the community. But unfortunately, trans people are being like at the front of it.
And eventually it'll be everyone different. The thing is, people that want to take funding away from trans people are the same people that want to take funding away from ableism services.
Yeah.
Like from disability services rather, because they are ableist. It's all the same. I'm leaving the UK now because of things like the Cass report, which has just also been, there's going to be the Levy report now, which is going to be into adult gender and healthcare. So chances are what's happened in the Cass report, which is banning puberty blockers for teenagers. So it's illegal to be trans now as a teenager. They're now coming for adults, which I saw was going to happen years ago. I was like, this is the first step. This is the wedge of destruction of LGBT rights in this country. Fully now it's like, we're going to start looking at that. They want to reduce trans healthcare so much that it's functionally illegal.
Yeah.
That it's like, if you can't get it private and you're only going to see one trans person every 6 months for the rest of time, and there's 4,000 trans people in the country, effectively illegal. It's effectively illegal.
Well, the sad reality of that is it's going to cause people to do black market surgeries, black market shit, like
100%.
dodgy things.
Yeah, I'm leaving the country for my own sanity and healthcare now. I'm literally just like, I can't do this anymore. I have to do it. Like, I'm just so sick of feeling this level of stress of like, am I just sitting here and waiting to get my healthcare taken away?
Yeah.
Like, is that what I'm actually doing right now? I think of like 10 years ago and think about all even a bit longer than 10 years ago, more like 12 years ago. Think about all the like trans nightclubs and how like common it was to see trans women and let's just say 1 or 2 MPs coming to the club being like, take off. And now it's like gone so like that when it was underground, no one really talked about it, no one really cared. Now it's mainstream. It's like, can you stop talking about us, please?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that unfortunately people only cared when they had to actually treat people equally. When it was all underground and kind of more hidden, it was more of like a secret and everything. And then now it's in the forefront of like people's...
It's exhausting. And my thing is, as soon as trans people are made effectively illegal, they won't be just like, and that's it, the job's done. We can close all of our offices now, all done. They'll start coming for gay people.
Oh yeah,
they'll start coming for gay marriage. They'll start trying to undo human rights protections in this country. The UN has downgraded the UK's human rights score because of their stance on trans people. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't surprise me that that's happened.
The idea that effectively you could seek asylum from the UK for their stance on trans people.
We used to be number 1 or 2 of like UK.
Oh, it's like 7 17 now.
Yeah, we used to be right at the top of the list of like LGBT friendly spaces like in the world, and now we're like almost at 20.
Yeah,
like,
it's disgusting. It makes me so sad, and it's happened so fast.
Yeah.
And the thing is with this sort of a thing is once hate takes root like this, it takes years to undo.
Yeah.
If ever. Sometimes people are like, do you know what? The hate is so entwined and deep now, we just pretend it's not there.
Yeah.
Rather than actively doing anything. There's lots of like tumultuous years ahead, I think, for trans people. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near better for at least 2 government terms. At least. So that's 10 years from now. Exhausting. But it's so rinse repeat with these things as well, because it's Section 28 was probably the last time that something like this happened. 20 years later, we've got the same thing happening.
Yeah. This is the thing.
To make people illegal.
And I always, we said this before, I always think, well, what's the next thing? Everything gets
Something
wonderful for trans people again. It's like, what's the next thing that they start to like attack people for?
A daytime tweet.
A daytime tweet in the evening, vagina. Like,
Do they even need a next thing? Maybe they'll just carry on with this for a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're on this.
When COVID happened, it was all about vaccines and shit. And everyone, like people, were people really talking this much about trans people during like 2020, for example, during like mid COVID?
It was, but it also wasn't at the same time. I think because people actively had something else to have the focus on.
Yeah.
I remember it being like a bit of a thing though, because I'm sure Boris said something untoward about trans people, and that was the first kind of time that I was like, oh, politics is getting a bit dangerous. Because even Theresa May, cheers to Theresa. She said something like, we want to make it easier for trans people to change their gender markers, like Scotland has. Yeah. Or Scotland wants to. And that was like in her manifesto, and people didn't care. They were like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no! Do you see all the same hate?
Do you see Candace Owens now like a flat earther? Like,
everything I've learned about this woman has been against my will. Wasn't she like sacked from something for being too horrific as well?
Yeah, she was taken off. So she was on part of, I always forget his name, Ben Shapiro's like Daily Wire, or was it Matt Walsh?
They're both
they're all the same people. She was part of the Daily Wire, and then she was taken off of it and fell out with everyone. I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Fell out, did she? Yeah.
I think it was Ben Shapiro because she was a little bit too insane.
It's very, I don't just believe in flat earth. It's also an ice ring. Yes, I'm too insane for the insane.
And now that she's like gone all like anti-science, she was like, I'm not a round earther, and I was like, what?
Oh, she's got to make money somehow.
Got to make money,
she's
yeah.
Got to get attention somehow.
Stupid. It's just so like, dumb.
I just fade into obscurity. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Do you know what? I think we should maybe talk about some happy things.
Yes.
Because the world's a bit shit.
Yeah.
If you don't know by now, I've been talking about it a lot. Obviously, I recently got a cat. I'm now a cat dad.
No.
Yes.
Burst from your own
So I've had my new little cat Globex, who's a Arabian Mal ginger cat. I've had him for 6 weeks now.
And I keep calling him Biscuit.
Biscuit.
Like, oh, Biscuit.
Biscuit is Luxeria's dog. And to be fair, when Globex first came, I kept calling him Biscuit too. It's because they're like similar colours as well.
They're sort of about the same sort of size. Yeah. It's just like, oh, Biscuit. Oh, no.
Yeah, so I'm a cat dad now, which has been interesting.
Yeah, nice. Guy Barbie,
yeah. He's really nice. He settled down a lot more now. He's not screaming in the middle of the night anymore. I can sleep throughout the night.
That's good.
Mainly good. He still wants to eat his wet food. He's only interested in eating dry food, which is fine. Like if I'm, he's drinking enough water, it's fine. And also, as in a selfish way, wet food is more expensive. So
it's also messier.
If he's not going to eat it, fine, sure. Yeah. I'll buy the.
If he doesn't like it. Yeah. My Biscuit has decided he loves radishes. So my dad grows him French breakfast radishes. And I'm like, what spoiled dog are you? Having fresh radishes for dinner. And there's me like gobbling a cheese and onion sandwich whilst I'm like trying to work. I'm like, what is this? The gulag.
Treated like royalty while you're in the bog.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, the bog witch. Luxeria the bog witch.
Well,
I guess I could tell people this.
Oh God, right.
So if you've been, I'm transitioning. It's because I want to be transvestigated
by a police officer.
Did you? Oh,
she was like, so when's the op?
Oh,
I was like,
when's your op?
I was like, that's none of your business.
None of your business. Yeah, weird. So something really exciting that's happening very, very soon. Apparently, I've talked to him a bit more now, and he said it's going to be maybe finished by the end of September. I'm getting my own jewellery line.
Oh, yes. I was like, God, what's this, marriage?
Yeah, I'm getting married. Yeah, put a ring on it, girls. I've got enough.
Oh, is this a launch expose?
Yeah, I think
we can have a launch because it's
a
fashion show.
This is right at the end of the video, so it's all the people that like really are into us who will stay for this. Like they get a little bit of secret exposure.
Yeah.
So yes, my Alpha Body Jewelry, who I've done a lot of sponsorship with, contacted me a little while ago and was like, we'd really love to do like a Roly range.
Is that what you're calling it? The Roly range?
Yeah.
The Roly wig.
I've sent him a load of like things that I would love my own jewelry. I replied being like, fuck yeah! But no, because at first when he emailed me, it was like, thanks so much for working with us for all these months. Well, about a year, because I never worked all the year.
I'm going to block you now.
Been wonderful. And I thought it was like a goodbye email, being like, we've worked with you now for a year, we're going to move on to like other people. Because if he did that, I'd be like, oh, I guess it makes sense because I've made like about 5 different videos of him and stuff. So, but when at the end he was like, oh, we want to do a Roly range, I was like, you're not leaving me.
No.
Because I get no sponsors. So yes. But yes, we're doing a Roly range. I'm not going to tell you what I've asked for, but there's a good, hopefully we can make them everything I want. I gave him like a shit ton of stuff because I was like, it's best to give you so many, so I'm not disappointed as much. But hopefully, if it goes the way that I want it to, you'll be able to buy like Roly themed jewelry. So everything that sort of relates to me and my channel and things we do, you'll be like a Roly range, which I'm very excited about.
Very good.
You know, you and Callum for a long time were telling me that I should do something like this.
Yes,
but I had no idea
several years ago.
Yeah, I had no idea how to even go around it. So it kind of all just happened. So yeah, I'm gonna have a little Roly piercing range, which I'm very excited about. And obviously, I've worked with Alpha now for over a year.
You're gonna film an advert. It'd be like,
yeah,
look at her.
A woman. Yeah. Collapsed on the floor. She was so excited. She was collapsed.
I did, yeah.
But yeah, so
gave out.
I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be ready. We're going to have a Roly piercing.
2052.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm still screaming about the internet. So that's exciting. I'm really excited about that.
That is pretty exciting. Well done. Congratulations. It's about time.
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'm going to make my piercings die. So how's your moving process?
Yeah, so let me spill some tea. The tea girls. Oh,
she's into rectal splooshing.
Yeah, no, rectal splooshing. No, she's not. If you have followed me for a little while on my Instagram, I think I've also said it on my channel at some point. I am leaving the UK. I also mentioned in this video. The process of leaving the UK has been long and difficult.
Thanks, Brexit.
Mainly due to Brexit, but also because of red tape with like the kind of job that we do. So obviously I technically am a digital freelancer for YouTube. That's kind of like, in terms of business etiquette, if you like, that's kind of the job title.
Yeah.
Like, you can say you're a YouTuber, video production, that kind of thing, but it is a freelancer for
Well, when
YouTube.
you like put your things in for like taxes, they always want like an actual label, right? You can't just be like, I'm a
woman.
Like, when any business things, you always need to put like specifically what you are.
And unfortunately, like influencer, although I personally don't like the term because it makes me sound like a digital salesperson, which is not what I am. But the like international governments don't really understand what that is in terms of like what your job looks like if you say that. I've hit quite a lot of red tape and it's taken me, it's a year this month from when I first started organising it, and I'm on the last little stages of getting my visa for a very specific place. And I have left a breadcrumb trail for people if they're clever.
The crystal maze.
Yeah, that was not clever enough. It's just that I posted like several stories a little while ago about it. But yes, it's all coming to a head now, and I'm hoping that within the next few weeks I should get a response and it should all be going through, because there's no reason to. I had to get so much proof because it's like not an official contracted employment. It's like they can't just phone someone and go, "Hello, Sharon in HR, is this real? Is she making it up?" Got to do all that, and then I'm going to go to the country and find a little place to live, which is nice, very exciting, and take my boyfriend and my dog with me. And I'm not stopping YouTube. It'll just be
that's great.
In fact, actually, I'm going to be able to have a nicer studio in the place that I'm going. So I'm very excited, very, very excited for it. But it's been a long, arduous process, and I sort of hate having to leave my country for the very reasons that we've kind of spoken about in this video, is because a lot of it is to do with the animosity that you face in the UK as a trans person on Turf Island.
It's very Turf Island. JK Turf.
And it's not going to get any better, especially with like the levy review coming in.
Oh no.
It's all going to, I feel like if you can, as a trans person, I feel like you should look at leaving. I honestly feel like I know that sounds very privileged to say, but like, look at leaving, honestly. Real sad. End on a good note.
What I find interesting about that is when it's like, it's predominantly trans women. Most people don't give a shit about trans men. They don't care.
It's always the same way. It's just misogyny dressed as different outfits.
Man dressed as
misogyny with a different hat. Global Allstars.
Global Allstars. So RuPaul's Drag Race has just started their Global Allstars, where they got one contestant from 12 different countries, and now actually competing properly. Not these like UK versus the world shit or Canada versus the world, load of rubbish. Yes, I'm really excited to see, I guess, everyone compete together because it's different than, you look like you want to say something naughty.
Yes,
What's happening?
I think I'm losing interest already in Global
Oh,
Allstars.
you know.
I was watching it this morning whilst getting ready and I was like, this is awful. And I was like, have you seen the recent one?
Yeah.
It was so rushed and it was only like 40.
Yeah, I don't know why they've made it 40. I don't know why they've made it.
Like,
it feels like watching season 15 that had the gays of WeHo like took away the time from Drag Race and it suddenly cut.
Gays of which, remember that?
The real friends of WeHo or something.
Friends of bottoming.
But it was that season of Drag Race where they cut out all of the like the episodes became really short and it feels the same where like it's really rushed.
I'm not into it. I love the budget increase, love the redesign of all the sets and everything. But I just think that they should have somehow, I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if it's because queens that are really good are like, I don't want to sign another one of those papers that will effectively lock me in for 15 years. But everyone just seems like, I'm sure they're lovely people, but I'm just a bit like, this is quite lackluster. Like, I really like Queen Kong because we know her personally. And I'm like, yeah, she's doing great. I don't know. It just feels like there's no budget. Like, the budget is not about the contestants. It's about set or something. I don't know. You're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it.
Maybe my mind will change over time. Maybe I'll be like, oh, this is a great season. Maybe I'm just a bit oversaturated as well.
Possibly.
I'm just a bit like, okay, All Stars 9 just finished, underwhelmed. But like we've got UK 6 starting.
UK 6 starting. Canada versus the world just finished today.
I'm like, maybe I am a little bit.
Maybe just oversaturated.
Yeah.
I'd be more excited about an All Winners. I'd love another All Winners because that was really good.
Same. I love the idea of an international All Stars though.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I will still support it and say it needs to carry on because I love the idea of bringing, for example, is it Vanity Vane, the Swedish lady?
Yeah.
Her prize fund for the entire season was like $10,000 and she's just won that on episode 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's good. We need that share the money in the community.
What I like about having a global All Stars is it gives a platform to all the other franchises that doesn't have RuPaul.
Yes,
because unfortunately, unless you're kind of like, even to the UK, to example, like it's really only the American ones, the actual American show that really gets like worldwide fame. I think it's good to have one where, especially non-English speaking countries, actually come and actually get a little bit more notoriety that they deserve.
Also have I just don't think there should be all American judges on an international show because you're not going to get the nuance of some of the jokes, you're not going to get the references, not going to get I'm sure I know they've
got guest judges that have been from countries, but like the majority of the it's still RuPaul, Michelle, Tucker Carlson.
Oh my god, where did that come from? Tucker Carlson.
Ross Matthews is like in it still, and he's on the next one,
and Jamal Williams. Is that his name?
I think so.
The choreographer.
Jamal Sims.
Yeah,
Jamal Sims.
Jamal Williams. No idea. But yes, Jamal Sims.
Yeah.
So
it's all American people still. So I get
but it
that.
is a bit I do feel a little bit like they're not going to get Belgian artifice in the language.
Yeah, that's true,
I don't know. It just feels a little bit Also, I did not agree with who went today.
Oh, I think Tessa should have gone.
Yes.
Oh, fully just derangement of I'm so amazing. And
yes. I think it's very rigged, and that's what I can see through. And I'm a bit okay, I'm not enjoying it now.
Well,
it's
because Tessa has been dramatic and being drama, it's I feel like they would have kept her in a bit like the Candy Muse effect, where it's you're dramatic and good TV because Tessa's actually being a bit rowdy in the confessionals and being
but it comes across as unlikable. Whereas
I know that, but they'll keep those kind of people a lot more.
Yeah, that's very true because it's reality TV at the end of the day. I can't wait for one day when Drag Race is not as copyright heavy and I can react to season 1 on my channel.
Could you imagine? That would be fun.
That'd be so good.
Finally, for this video, I talked to Luxeria yesterday and I said to her, I would like to do a little section where we just talk about some video games coming up. Yes. And she said, I don't play video games because I'm not a disgusting fat incel who lives in his basement of his mother.
That was it, word for word. Yeah.
So that's how
I actually do cast a little. So every time I say I actually, that pops right into my head. So I haven't been playing video games recently because of my living situation currently. All I'm doing is working at the moment. And it's starting to take its toll on me. I'm a bit aging, girls. However, I did see the new Deadpool and Wolverine film, which was quite good. I thought very fan service, very silly.
Very silly.
I liked the blonde Deadpool.
They have sex?
They didn't. They should have raw dogged each other there and then.
But game-wise, I'm very, very excited. Multiple things. So very excited about making a new Doom game coming up next year.
Yes, that's right.
They originally when Doom Eternal came out, God, what?
They were like
3 years ago.
Now.
They were like, yeah, that's the end of the Doomslayer's story. But now they're doing like I think it's a prequel. I think it's like meant to be like a prequel to how it all started.
I mean, they kind of have to, really.
Yeah.
Because like, wasn't the end of Eternal, like, you've
beaten
Satan.
You've beaten Satan.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge Doom fan. I absolutely love it. So I'm very, very excited about making a new Doom game. But we watched the trailer because I showed you the trailer. You did watch it. It was a little while ago. It was a little while ago.
Yeah.
It looks so good. I'm also really excited for a new Fable game.
Fabulous.
Very, very, very excited about that. You might have forgotten, but Fable's like that game that I played when I was gay on it.
Yeah.
So
I married a man and had a
married a man, yeah.
And you were like, nobody look, my brother can't play this game, he'll see.
So yeah, I'm really, really excited about the new Fable game coming next year. I hope it delivers.
Is it a remake or is it a sequel?
No, it's like 4, like just a brand new one, like a completely new one. Little Nightmares 3 is coming out as well. Did you ever play Little Nightmares?
You did it on stream. I didn't play the second one though.
One of my most
freaked me out a bit. I was like, no. Those hideous people in the chefs.
Oh, the chefs.
Gobble. Yeah. Like, no, we're not doing all that.
Little Nightmares, weirdly, has been my biggest viewed streams ever on Twitch. And it's so interesting that, like, this little indie game...
It's such a Twitchable game, though. Like, the idea of combining cute with horror, also, like, suspense, but it's not so realistic that you're... like shouting everywhere and
shouting.
But yeah,
so I'm very excited about that.
I will quite happily watch you play on Little Nightmares.
Yeah,
I would sit down and watch.
I'm
those
very, very excited about that.
Love that for you.
Love that for you. So 2 things. There's been speculation and rumors that they're finally doing either a remake or doing like a HD remaster or just something of the legacy of Khan Soul Reaver.
Yes, I heard this recently as well.
I'm actually putting Raziel here on my arm, like underneath my hip.
Underneath my hip.
My hips are so high.
You had a transplant.
I'm actually putting...
Her legs go all the way up.
I'm actually putting Raziel here on my body. I love Soul Reaver so much. It's such like an iconic moment in like early 3D... games. Very excited for that. But the rumors are that there's going to be a remake of 1 and 2 or like a brand new thing. We're not too sure. Also, I spoke about this with you. That
we talk about a lot of
we
stuff,
do, yeah.
we?
We're going to be apparently remaking the original Halo 1.
Oh yeah.
As like a tester because they've never used Unreal Engine for Halo before.
It's not going to be called Halo. It's going to be called Pronouns.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about a potential like a remake of Halo, but I want it better be fucking good because if you're gonna start doing the original Halo, which starts it all off, you can't fuck it up.
It's gonna be a woman.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a woman. But apparently they're doing the original one to do.
No,
it's like a tester because they've never done Unreal Engine before. That. It's
what we on Unreal 5 now? Is it
5 now? Yeah, because it's never been done in Unreal Engine. They're using that, so the storyline, everything has all been done.
What did they make it on then?
I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like a different, it's like a different program. So I'm really excited about it potentially. I've been really into Halo recently. I played it a little while ago with Daniel a couple of weeks ago.
I'm really into voguing.
I'm really into voguing right now. I've really got back into like Halo. So I actually changed my... I don't think I've told them. I've really changed my tattoo plan. That my back is no longer going to be Doom. It's going to be Halo.
She's getting her back blown out.
She's getting her back blown out. And I'm having Doom put on my neck instead. So we've swapped things over, which I'm excited about.
It's for the best.
It's for the best.
It's what she would have wanted.
Yeah. And I think that's all the games that I'm really excited about coming out that I know of.
I don't know any of that. I've literally not even spent an iota of my brain power thinking about video games coming out. Sadly.
Oh, BioShock apparently is getting something next year.
It's good. I remember that they said that Infinite was going to be like the end. But there's been murmurings for a while from BioShock people, hasn't there?
But apparently they're making a TV show.
Oh, don't bother.
There's like some series that's happening, like a BioShock series.
Final Fantasy made this mistake. It's like, don't just put all your money into making a good game, please.
Well, I didn't watch the Halo series because I was too scared. I was like, no, I don't want to give it time because I'm scared I'll hate it and then it'll like make me upset.
And they won't ever make another one because everyone else was also thinking
it was banned after it was cancelled after season 2. And I'm like,
don't do it. Refunnel back into making good games.
It's the same as the Mortal Kombat films.
Don't do it.
I haven't watched the new Mortal Kombat films because I'm just
don't do it. I actually quite liked the new one.
Oh, did you?
I was also like, this is spitting on the memory of Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
But for what it was enjoyable. And it gave you a bit of fan service being like, oh, that's... But no. Stop doing all that. Put your money where it matters, please.
Yeah.
Why are they so...
Up inside me.
It feels a bit boomery sometimes when they're like, no, we can't have a TV show that goes with it. I'm like... Do you realise that a good video game will make you billions more in profit and revenue than a 6-episode nonsense on Paramount Plus for 3 weeks? They go, no.
we've not spoken about this before, but you might know this already. But back in the 90s, obviously Street Fighter was huge, and they made like a TV film of Street Fighter. But then
several of them.
But then they also made a Street Fighter game of the TV film.
Stupid.
So they like put all these like John Claude Van Damme and the people into a video game, and it was called Street Fighter the movie, the game, and it was like, you've got the game series. Like, why are you making a film from a game and then making a game out of the film that was made of the game? It was so
boomery,
stupid.
isn't it? It's so boomery.
Dumb.
It's very that thing, but like where there's a film that's made and then someone writes a book about the film, and it's like, oh, stop doing that immediately, please. No, not interested. No.
But yeah,
that's and that's all she wrote.
And that was how she died. Goodbye.
And that was how she died.
We're needed in the basement.
But yeah, we are now. Yeah, bye. I'm taking the lift.
We're taking. Oh, she'll take the lift, and I'll fall downstairs.
Yeah, treat yourself.
Just like that Janine pushing Barry off the cliff.
An old reference. Very boomer.
Only a few people will understand.
Yeah. Janine's back. This time she's not.
No, she's dead. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
And if you are listening and you didn't watch the video, obviously there is a video for
Grow up! What are you doing with yourself? Yeah. Block yourself. Have a word.
Obviously, please give us like a thumbs up and a like and a star, 5 stars and all that stuff. I'm trying to. If you're wondering why things have been missing recently, there's been lots of like weird stuff going on with the broadcasting things of like SoundCloud and everything that I use to put on other platforms. There's been some drama, and there's like a little bit of a bug, and it hasn't been going out properly. So it's not that I haven't been like bothering to put it on like streaming platforms. I've just had a bit of drama with some of the sites. I tried to go to Acast and they were giving me drama. So
not the RSS feed.
Eventually, I think I'm missing about 3. They will all be done as the audio version. I've just had a bit of drama and I'm just trying to fix the issue. So I apologize that there hasn't been podcast in the audio version.
Yeah, you should really think about doing your job properly.
I should probably slip my neck.
Well, I mean, that's a bit extreme. You could just be fine. Hands in your resignation.
Hands in the till.
I'm not your employer.
No. Because
not even a colleague.
No, you're not even real. You're fake. You're a ghost.
Yeah.
I'm here on my own.
Yeah.
It's just fantasy.
Is this just wiggly blip?
Is this?
But yes, see you later.
Yeah,
bye.
Bye, girls. Bye, subscribe, all the fun
girls
things.
have the cats. Bye, girls. Please
You've
subscribe.
not sung that in a long time.
I know. I said it the other day in a video and I was like,
stupid. Yeah. But the end of this video, we're just going to give you a nice round of applause.
So we could say a nice kiss.
Oh, yeah, we do have a laugh. Yeah, stupid love.